Lightning split the sky above the village, casting brief shadows across the mud huts and dense forest beyond. Samuel clutched his chest as a mysterious figure fell before him, mumbling words he could not understand. Elder Masego gasped, "The curse! It awakens!" The wind whipped violently, carrying the scent of burning herbs. Samuel's eyes widened as a strange glow emerged from the ground beneath the elder's feet. Fear mingled with awe as he recognized symbols from stories his mother had whispered. The forest seemed to breathe around him, and shadows twisted unnaturally. Every instinct screamed that life as he knew it had ended. A distant drumbeat echoed, vibrating in his bones. Samuel dropped to his knees, unable to tear his gaze from the glowing sigil. The air grew thick, charged with energy, as voices whispered from the unseen corners of the village. His pulse raced, yet within him stirred a strength he had never known, a call to destiny. Samuel staggered back from the sigil, heart pounding as he tried to understand the elder's last words. Questions flooded his mind, memories of his mother's whispers mingling with the chaos around him. The villagers' fearful murmurs echoed across the wet earth. Samuel felt a strange warmth beneath his feet, as if the soil itself recognized his presence. He wanted to flee, yet an invisible force held him in place. The storm raged, lightning slicing the sky in jagged lines. Samuel realized that something had shifted within him, a connection he could not yet name. His hands tingled, and shadows seemed to respond to his gaze. He breathed deeply, trying to steady himself while absorbing the unfolding magic. Every instinct warned him that the path ahead would be dangerous, yet he could not turn away. A figure approached through the mist, Elder Kofi, wearing earth-toned robes and beaded adornments, staff in hand. His eyes reflected both sorrow and wisdom. "Samuel, the spirits have chosen you," he said gravely. Samuel struggled to comprehend, feeling the weight of unseen eyes upon him. The sigil glimmered faintly, as if responding to Kofi's words. Every leaf, every branch, seemed to lean closer, witnessing their conversation. Samuel's pulse quickened, yet a strange calm spread through him. He sensed that guidance had arrived, a path emerging from the chaos. The wind carried whispers of the ancestors, urging him forward. He knew the choices he would make now would echo across generations. Samuel followed Kofi into a small clearing where the wind's fury softened. Trees arched overhead, sheltering them slightly from the storm. Kofi explained, the curse tied to Samuel's bloodline, speaking of ancient wars and hidden powers. Samuel's mind raced, images of his mother, the elder, and the village flashing like lightning in his mind. Doubt clawed at him, but a spark of courage ignited. He realized he must accept a destiny that was forced upon him. The forest seemed to breathe with him, energy pulsing underfoot. Every step he took felt heavy with responsibility and ancient expectation. His gaze locked on the elders, absorbing lessons older than memory. As the storm eased, Samuel paused atop a small hill overlooking the village. He felt the sigil's warmth fade into the soil, yet the message remained. Kofi placed a hand on his shoulder. "Your journey begins now," he said. Samuel inhaled the humid earthy air, feeling both fear and a newfound resolve. The village seemed smaller from this height, yet the weight of what lay ahead felt immense. Shadows lengthened across the mud huts, whispering promises of trials, betrayal, and unseen dangers. Samuel's heart surged with determination, understanding that destiny demanded courage beyond his years. He straightened, fists clenched, the rain-washed wind tugging at his tunic and hair. He looked to the horizon, ready to step into the path of legend. Samuel walked through the dense forest, the echoes of the sigil's glow still fresh in his mind. The wind whispered warnings, and the distant roar of a waterfall blended with the calls of unseen animals. His heart raced as he considered the elder's words, feeling the weight of a destiny he could not yet understand. Every step forward brought a mix of fear and determination. Shadows danced between the trees, almost as if the forest itself was alive. Samuel paused, sensing a presence nearby, a fleeting shape that vanished before he could focus. Doubts clawed at him, but he drew strength from the ancestral guidance whispered through the wind. He realized he could not turn back, that this path would shape not only his life but the fate of his village. With clenched fists and steady breath, he pressed onward into the unknown. Samuel encountered a clearing where sunlight pierced through the thick canopy. Elder Kofi stood in the center, staff in hand, his robes flowing gently in the breeze. "Your heritage holds secrets beyond your understanding," Kofi said, his voice calm yet firm. Samuel listened intently, absorbing every word, feeling both humbled and overwhelmed. The sigil's glow seemed to linger faintly beneath the roots of an ancient tree. He imagined the generations of ancestors who had walked these grounds, their wisdom and power echoing in the rustle of leaves. Samuel's resolve strengthened, realizing that learning from the past was essential for facing the trials ahead. The forest held countless lessons, and he would need courage, patience, and cunning to survive. Shadows stretched long as the sun moved across the sky, emphasizing the weight of responsibility settling on him. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows. Io, Samuel's childhood friend, eyes narrowed with doubt. "Samuel, are you sure this is wise?" he asked, tension in his tone. Samuel hesitated, but knew hesitation could be dangerous. Kofi raised a hand, signaling trust in Samuel's judgment. The forest seemed to lean in, watching their interaction. Io's skepticism clashed with loyalty, testing Samuel's ability to lead and inspire. The ancient sigil flickered faintly at Samuel's feet, resonating with his growing power. Thoughts of betrayal and responsibility intertwined as Samuel weighed his options. He understood that leadership was not only about courage, but also about guiding others through uncertainty. The wind carried leaves across the ground, a reminder that every choice stirred unseen consequences. As they moved deeper, the forest grew darker, shadows thickening under massive ancient trees. Samuel's pulse quickened, every sound amplified by the oppressive silence. Kofi spoke softly, teaching him to feel the rhythm of the earth and the whispers of spirits that had long protected their land. Samuel closed his eyes briefly, drawing in the energy around him, sensing an invisible network connecting life, ancestors, and destiny. The forest floor pulsed faintly beneath his feet, and the wind shifted, revealing the path forward. Each lesson was subtle, requiring focus and intuition rather than strength alone. Samuel's resolve deepened, as he understood that surviving this journey meant mastering both inner fear and outer threats. Every step forward was a negotiation with unseen forces, a delicate balance of respect and courage. They reached the edge of a cliff overlooking a cascading waterfall, mist rising in the early afternoon sun. Samuel felt exhilaration and fear, understanding the journey would demand courage beyond anything he had known. Kofi gestured to the vast expanse below. "The world is larger than you imagine, Samuel, and your choices echo far beyond this forest," he said. Samuel inhaled the humid air, the roar of water filling his chest. He reflected on his lineage, the weight of ancestral expectations settling in. Io remained nearby, still skeptical but silently trusting Samuel's judgment. Samuel's gaze traveled across the horizon, feeling a deep connection to his people, his culture, and the unseen forces guiding him. The cliff's edge symbolized the leap he would soon have to take, both physically and spiritually, into the destiny awaiting him. Samuel and Io moved cautiously through a dense fog that blanketed the valley. Every rustle and distant call made them tense, aware that danger lurked unseen. Elder Kofi's voice carried in the mist, guiding them. "Trust the spirits," he advised. "They will reveal what the eyes cannot see." Samuel focused, feeling faint pulses of energy beneath his feet, signs of hidden forces. The fog shifted, revealing glimpses of ancient stone carvings, partially swallowed by moss. Shadows moved oddly, suggesting that not all was natural in this place. Samuel's heartbeat quickened, realizing this was a test of perception and courage. Every instinct told him to hesitate, yet he pressed forward, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing on him. A sudden screech echoed from above as a large bird swooped low, forcing Samuel to duck instinctively. "Stay calm," Kofi called, his tone steady. Samuel's mind raced, analyzing the forest's unpredictable signals. The presence of the bird, the shifting shadows, and the pulsing energy from the sigil all blended into a single tense moment. Io scanned the trees, sword ready, as the wind carried distant whispers. Samuel understood that survival required both attentiveness and intuition, interpreting each subtle movement. The forest seemed alive, challenging their focus and testing their unity. Every rustle could hide a threat, every shadow a lesson. Courage and clarity were their only tools to navigate this enchanted, perilous landscape. Thought? They arrived at a river, its waters turbulent and deep. Kofi instructed them to follow the rhythm of the current with their senses, teaching that the spirits spoke in subtle ways. Samuel felt the energy flow beneath his feet, guiding his steps. The roar of water filled their ears, competing with the distant call of unseen creatures. Io hesitated at the edge, wary of slippery rocks, yet Samuel pressed forward with growing confidence. The river reflected fragments of sunlight, creating dazzling patterns that shifted with every wave. Samuel realized that mastery required both courage and harmony with the forces around him. Each movement through the water was deliberate, every step a lesson in balance and trust. On the riverbank, Samuel discovered markings etched into the stones, symbols resembling those of the sigil. He traced them with his fingers, sensing a connection to the ancient powers. Kofi explained that these were signs of the ancestors, guidance for those worthy of bearing their legacy. Io studied Samuel's reactions carefully, seeing his growing understanding and respect for the unseen forces. Shadows shifted around them as the forest seemed to acknowledge their presence. Samuel's pulse matched the rhythm of the water, and he felt a surge of clarity. Each lesson became more tangible, and the stakes of his destiny more pressing. He understood that knowledge, courage, and respect must merge to navigate the trials ahead. As evening approached, the group reached a small cave hidden behind a waterfall. Mist shrouded the entrance, creating an aura of mystery and danger. Kofi gestured for silence, explaining that only those who respected the spirits could enter safely. Samuel felt a chill as the water sprayed around him, yet he stepped forward with measured courage. Io followed reluctantly, and the echoes of their footsteps resonated in the mist. Samuel sensed the ancient energy pulsing stronger here, the culmination of lessons learned in the forest. The waterfall roared, but beneath it, the cave seemed to whisper promises of power and understanding. Samuel's heartbeat synchronized with the rhythm of unseen forces, signaling a pivotal moment in his journey. Samuel stepped cautiously into the cave, the roar of the waterfall fading behind them. The air was thick with moisture and the scent of minerals. Shadows danced on the jagged walls as their torchlight flickered, revealing faint, ancient carvings. Elder Kofi's voice echoed softly. Every mark tells a story of the past, guiding those who listen. Samuel ran his fingers along the etchings, sensing the wisdom imbued within them. Io kept close, eyes scanning the darkness for unseen threats. Samuel felt a mix of awe and apprehension, realizing that the cave held not just secrets, but a test of character and courage. Every step deeper amplified the tension, while the pulsing energy hinted at a presence beyond the ordinary. He understood that this journey demanded full trust in the guidance of his elders and the wisdom of the ancestors. As they moved deeper, a faint glow emerged from the far end of the cavern. Samuel squinted, recognizing the pattern of the sigil shimmering on a crystal embedded in stone. Kofi gestured for silence, explaining that the crystal held ancestral power, awakened only by the worthy. Io stepped closer, hesitant yet intrigued. Samuel felt the pulse of energy reverberate through the cave, linking him to generations past. Each breath carried a mixture of fear, reverence, and anticipation. He realized the cave was not merely a physical space, but a spiritual conduit, connecting the living to those who had walked before. The glow intensified as Samuel approached, revealing intricate carvings intertwined with the crystal. Every detail seemed alive, a testament to the enduring presence of ancestral wisdom. Samuel reached out, touching the crystal, feeling a surge of warmth and energy ripple through him. Images of past warriors and elders flashed before his mind's eye. Kofi spoke softly. "The spirits recognize your heart, Samuel, but the path is never simple." Aya watched, concern evident, as the cave seemed to hum in response to Samuel's connection. The energy intertwined with the sigil on the floor, illuminating symbols previously hidden in darkness. Samuel's focus sharpened, understanding that wisdom was inseparable from responsibility. He felt the immense weight of his ancestors' expectations, knowing his actions would ripple far beyond the cave. Every instinct demanded patience, every heartbeat resonated with lessons carried across generations. The bond between the present and past was undeniable, and Samuel's courage grew in response. A sudden tremor shook the cavern, sending small stones tumbling. Samuel steadied himself, heart racing as Kofi's voice guided him to maintain focus. "The spirits test strength and resolve," Kofi explained. Io gripped his sword, scanning for potential threats. The cave walls seemed to pulse with life, the crystal's glow intensifying with each heartbeat. Samuel sensed the energy responding to his courage, rewarding clarity and presence. Shadows danced erratically, mimicking the rhythm of his pulse. Each movement was deliberate, each breath measured. Samuel realized that the challenge was not merely physical but spiritual, a test of alignment between heart, mind, and ancestral legacy. He drew a deep breath, trusting in the guidance surrounding him, prepared to face whatever emerged from the depths of the cave. The tremor subsided, leaving an eerie silence punctuated by dripping water. Samuel stepped closer to the crystal, feeling its energy harmonize with his own. Kofi nodded approvingly. "You have begun to understand, Samuel. The ancestors speak through you now." Io exhaled, visibly relieved yet humbled by the cave's power. Samuel traced the sigils with deliberate care, committing their wisdom to memory. The cave seemed to embrace their presence, its shadows softening, the crystal radiating a calm warmth. Samuel realized that courage, trust, and respect had forged a bridge between him and the spirits. The lessons of the forest, river, and cave had converged, shaping him into a guardian of knowledge and protector of the unseen forces. Io's gaze reflected newfound respect and understanding, reinforcing the bond of shared purpose. Emerging from the cave, Samuel felt a renewed sense of purpose. The forest greeted them with a hush, as if acknowledging the progress made. Kofi guided their steps toward a clearing, where faint traces of ancient battles lay etched in the soil. Samuel sensed the spirit's presence surrounding them, watching and evaluating. Io moved cautiously, scanning for danger, yet the calm atmosphere contrasted sharply with their earlier tension. Samuel reflected on the lessons of courage, perception, and trust, realizing each trial had sharpened his understanding. The energy from the cave still pulsed within him, and he felt more connected to his heritage than ever. Shadows shifted lightly with the breeze, creating fleeting shapes that seemed almost alive. Every step forward was a balance between respect, courage, and awareness of unseen forces. In the clearing, Samuel noticed a circle of ancient stones, arranged in a pattern resonating with the sigil's energy. Kofi explained that this place had been used for centuries to communicate with the ancestors. Samuel knelt to study the symbols, tracing their curves with his fingertips. Io stepped closer, curious but respectful, sensing the sacredness of the space. The wind stirred leaves around them, carrying whispers of past voices. Samuel felt a strange warmth as the stones seemed to react to his touch. Each symbol carried a story, a lesson, a warning. He realized that knowledge required humility and patience, and that power was inseparable from responsibility. The clearing felt alive, charged with the energy of generations who had come before. Samuel closed his eyes, letting the energy of the stones flow through him. Images of ancestors, warriors, and guardians flashed in his mind, their courage inspiring him. Kofi instructed, "Let the spirits guide your heart, not your fear." Aya watched, sensing Samuel's growing connection. Every breath drew him closer to understanding the balance between the living and the spirits. The forest seemed to hush, as though waiting for Samuel to fully comprehend the responsibility bestowed upon him. He felt the weight of legacy, knowing that his choices would affect the future of his people. Courage and humility intertwined in his heart, grounding him while empowering his resolve. The clearing vibrated faintly, a gentle affirmation of acceptance from unseen forces. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed through the forest. Samuel's eyes snapped open, and Io drew his sword instinctively. Kofi raised his staff, calm but alert, explaining that the spirits often tested resolve through challenges. Samuel felt the energy from the stones reacting, warning of an unseen force approaching. The wind picked up, rustling leaves and carrying distant whispers that made Samuel's pulse quicken. Every instinct screamed caution, yet he felt a deep confidence rooted in lessons learned. The forest seemed to bend around them, testing courage and focus. Samuel and Io exchanged determined glances, their bond strengthened by shared trials. Each heartbeat synchronized with the rhythm of the surrounding energy, preparing them for the confrontation ahead. The source of the disturbance emerged, a dark figure moving swiftly between trees, emanating oppressive energy. Samuel took a deep breath, feeling the crystal's guidance within him. Kofi reminded him, "Control fear, trust your instincts." Io flanked him, ready for defense. Samuel stepped forward, energy from the ancestors resonating in every motion. The figure hesitated, sensing the combined strength and resolve. Samuel's courage solidified, knowing that the trials, lessons, and wisdom he had gained would guide his actions. Every decision now carried weight, every movement a declaration of purpose. The forest seemed to hold its breath, witnessing the moment when destiny and choice converged. Samuel and Io advanced cautiously through the dense forest, the late afternoon light filtering through thick branches. Every sound, from rustling leaves to distant animal calls, heightened their alertness. Kofi led the way, staff tapping rhythmically on the forest floor. Samuel felt the lingering energy of the crystal guiding their path, while the forest itself seemed alive, sensing their mission. The shadows lengthened as they approached an open glade, and Samuel realized that the upcoming challenge would test not only strength but wisdom. Each step demanded awareness, each breath a reminder of the delicate balance between courage and recklessness. Io kept close, silent but ready, reinforcing the unspoken bond between the two. The glade opened into a small clearing, revealing the remnants of an old village long abandoned. Samuel scanned the area, sensing layers of history embedded in the worn structures. Kofi explained that the village was once a place of ritual and learning, now left to the whispers of the past. Io stepped lightly, careful not to disturb the fragile environment. Samuel traced his fingers along broken carvings, absorbing the echoes of tradition. The wind carried a haunting melody of ancestral voices, guiding and warning. He understood that power was intertwined with memory and respect. Every observation became a lesson, every silence a testament to the wisdom lost and waiting to be reclaimed. The forest around them felt protective yet wary, guarding the secrets that had endured through generations. Samuel approached a circular stone altar, the center etched with faded sigils. Kofi instructed, "Place your hand here and listen." Samuel obeyed, feeling a faint hum beneath his palm. Energy surged subtly, connecting him to the village's past. Io remained vigilant, scanning the edges of the clearing for threats. Samuel closed his eyes, absorbing the lessons embedded in the stone, sensing the sacrifices and triumphs of ancestors. The forest seemed to exhale, acknowledging his presence. Samuel realized that understanding required patience, and that mastery came from aligning one's actions with the wisdom of those who came before. Each heartbeat echoed with legacy, each breath with responsibility. The clearing felt sacred, a threshold between the living and the spirits, and Samuel's resolve deepened. A sudden rustling in the trees alerted them to movement beyond the clearing. Samuel's senses sharpened, feeling the energy of the village respond to the intruder. Io raised his sword, muscles tensed for immediate action. Kofi's calm voice reminded them to remain composed, strength is guided by clarity, not reaction alone. Samuel felt the hum of the altar sync with his heartbeat, anchoring him. Shadows shifted unnaturally, suggesting the approach of a malevolent presence. Samuel drew a deep breath, trusting the lessons learned from the cave, the crystal, and the forest. Courage and vigilance intertwined as he prepared to confront whatever emerged from the trees. The forest seemed to pulse around them, amplifying the tension and anticipation. A dark figure emerged from the tree line, energy radiating oppressive intent. Samuel stepped forward, feeling the crystal's guidance in his chest, grounding him. Kofi positioned himself to support, staff glowing faintly with ancestral energy. Io flanked Samuel, sword ready, breath steady. Samuel focused on clarity and intent, summoning courage tempered with wisdom. The figure paused, sensing the combined strength and resolve of the trio. Samuel realized that trials had honed not only his skill but his perception, allowing him to act decisively without fear. The forest seemed to hold its breath, watching as destiny approached a pivotal moment. Every action now carried the weight of heritage and responsibility. Samuel stood at the edge of the forest, the dark figure looming before him. Io readied his sword, Kofi held his staff steady. The crystal pulsed with energy, guiding Samuel's courage. Shadows flickered as the air thickened. Samuel breathed deeply, focusing on clarity and ancestral guidance, knowing the final confrontation would define his destiny. The dark figure advanced, energy crackling around it. Samuel felt fear but let the lessons of patience and focus guide him. Io flanked him, protective yet alert. Kofi murmured ancestral chants, sending waves of calm energy. Samuel raised the crystal, sensing the spirit's presence surrounding them, bolstering their resolve. Energy clashed as Samuel stepped forward, crystal blazing. The dark figure recoiled but pressed on, testing their resolve. Io defended swiftly, parrying with precision. Kofi's chants intensified, sending ripples of protective energy. Samuel's heart aligned with the crystal, his courage and heritage merging into decisive action. The dark figure faltered, energy waning under Samuel's determination. Kofi guided with a firm gesture, reinforcing their spiritual link. Samuel pressed forward, each motion precise, fueled by wisdom and ancestral strength. Io remained close, protective yet trusting Samuel's lead. The forest itself seemed to lean in, observing the turning of fate. The dark figure dissipated into shadows, leaving the clearing silent. Samuel exhaled, the crystal dimming gently. Io lowered his sword, eyes relieved. Kofi smiled faintly, nodding approval. Samuel felt the weight of his heritage and the promise of future balance. The forest exhaled around them, calm and alive, marking the end of the trials and the beginning of restored harmony.